What is going on, guys? The Inside the Boot podcast, and today breaking down the New York Yankees struggles. This team has been awful recently, and quite honestly, it's been more than we probably would have expected. Usually teams eventually find a way to start winning games more consistently, but that has not been the case for the New York Yankees. They have been awful. They have not been good. They've been losing to teams that probably should have beat. Their roster is looking worse and worse. The moves need to be made at the trade deadline, and we don't know what's going to happen at the trade deadline. We don't know what Brian Cashman's plan is going to be, but we know that this team is very bad right now, and the trade deadline cannot come any sooner for this team. Previously, it was kind of the All-Star break, right? We could not wait for this team to just get to the All-Star break, take a week off, see how they figure it out. The team is the same. The team is the same. Nothing has changed. And something that I need to see from this Yankee team before we head into the deadline is a solid series against the Boston Red Sox on Friday. There's so much bad in this team, and I don't really know what the exact move is going to be for this team to improve and be one of the top teams in the AL East. They're a game and a half back of the Baltimore Orioles. The Baltimore Orioles have been kind of like the New York Yankees. They have struggled. They have a good roster, and they have struggled. But I do lean the Orioles roster in some ways. I think they have 9 guys that I could probably rely on more than the 2 guys for the New York Yankees, because the Yankees have 2 really, really good hitters. Hall of Famers, I think, eventually, with Juan Soto and Aaron Judge. But that's it. That is it. There's not really much else to talk about in terms of production. You could say Austin Wells has been much better and probably should be the All-Star, not the All-Star, the everyday catcher. You've seen some strides from Anthony Volpe so far in this second half. He's played somewhat better. But overall, Verdugo has still been bad. Gleyber Torres has started to get some better swings, has hit 2 home runs in the last 2 games, both against the New York Mets. But I just look at this entire lineup, and doesn't make me excited, except for Judge and Soto, because I know those 2 are probably going to have a really good game. But everyone else, it's like, DJ LeMahieu, okay. Oswaldo Cabrera, okay. And then J.D. Davis is starting to get reps over Ben Rice, which quite honestly makes no sense, because this is a guy that hasn't swung a bat in a long time. He was dealing with a stomach bug, whatever it was. J.D. Davis is awful. There was a reason why the Oakland Athletics, out of all teams, DFA'd a player. And now I'm not trying to take a shot at the Oakland Athletics, but that's a really bad baseball team, and you get DFA'd. That should mean that you stay far away from that player. And then obviously Anthony Rizzo goes down a while ago. It feels like forever. They call up Ben Rice, but I feel like this whole lefty-righty, lefty-lefty matchups I see, that shouldn't mean much, honestly. They should have Ben Rice being the everyday first baseman, or at least sharing reps with DJ LeMahieu and having Oswaldo Cabrera play third base instead. That's kind of the second thing about this lineup, is J.D. Davis should never be in this lineup. And I don't expect them to DFA him until the deadline. And if this guy's on the team after the deadline, then my goodness, that is the intelligence of Brian Cashman. That guy cannot be a GM if that is a move. Because this is the thing that I do have about the New York Yankees. This is the New York Yankees, the team that has the highest expectation for really any sports franchise, in my opinion. That has kind of trended downwards because of the recent struggles in the playoffs. But nonetheless, you shouldn't have these bad players on your team. I know George Steinbrenner is obviously gone. Rest in peace. But he had the best players, and I know no luxury tax, all of that. But some of these players that Brian Cashman is bringing in are awful. Are awful. And he wants to be all this analytic nerd and all this. Clearly it's not working. It worked for the first half, but nothing else. I mean, it's quite embarrassing, the roster the Yankees have, except for Juan Soto and Aaron Judge being in the lineup every day. Just a lot of bad players, and usually bad players can't find a way out of a struggling season. But the Yankees are 7-13 in the last 20 games, and another stat that I do have: the Colorado Rockies in their last 20 games are 10-10. Just let that sink in. The Yankees have the two best players in baseball, and you can't win a series. You just got swept, and I mean swept, by the New York Mets. You got swept all 4 games. All 4 games the Yankees lost against the New York Mets, and that hasn't happened since 2013. I mean, the Mets must be super happy with their team. Complete opposite of the Yankee fans, because the Mets are playing very good baseball, I have to admit. And another thing, too, is that I just looked at. The Athletics are 11-9 in the last 20 games, and that's the Oakland Athletics. Respectfully, that's a team bottom of the league. So the Yankees are playing like they're the bottom team in the league right now. And I understand great teams go through bad stretches. But this is a stretch that has gone way too long. I understand, okay, their record's good, they're 1.5 games out. That's not the point. You look at their last 20, 25 games, right? 7-13 in the last 20, like we just mentioned. It's awful. It is awful. And I don't know what moves, like I said earlier, the Yankees are going to make that's going to elevate this team. Because you can't acquire 6, 7 players in a trade deadline. Right? You can't acquire a first baseman, a second baseman, a third baseman, an outfielder, and 2 relievers. You just can't. You do not have the, enough players to do that. Because, quite honestly, teams are going to be a little stingy. Because some teams are still in that playoff race and they don't want to sell off their players. They still think that their team has a shot. But yeah, it's quite frustrating with what is going on. But just so much bad has happened. But before we get into the next topic, of course, check out the merch. We got hats, we got sweatshirts, we got beanies. We got it all. But anyways, let's get into the next segment. Alright, so the issues. It's plain and simple. This team has 2 hitters out of 9 hitters who can get on base consistently and play really good. And it's impossible to win games like that. And for me, I'm always going to point the finger at Brian Cashman, the GM. He gives Aaron Boone this team. And I know there's a lot of criticism towards Boone. I'm not a defendant of Boone. But I do kind of feel bad for Aaron Boone. Because he has tried pretty much everything with this lineup. He's tried Gleyber Torres leading off. He's tried Anthony Volpe leading off. He's tried a bunch of different things. He tried Jahmai Jones leading off a baseball game. Boone has run out of options. And quite honestly, it sometimes feels like he's making these lineups to send a message upstairs to the front office like, hey, I need some help. You got to give me some players that are going to, make me keep a lineup every day. I can't keep switching up the lineup every single day. You can't. Now, getting honestly to the lineup, I guess we'll talk about that now before we get into some of the other things. Honestly, lead off Soto. Why not? Why not lead off Soto? Or honestly, lead off Judge. He's done it before. He's done 16 games leading off. But I think you got to lead off one of those two. Either it's Soto or Judge. And then you could have, Ben Rice hit third, Austin Wells, Gleyber Torres, whatever it is. I think you have to start really making a consideration to doing that. Because then also you kind of have to guarantee pitch to one of them. But another thing too, in that Mets series, is Mendoza was not afraid to pitch to Judge in that final at bat with Jake Diekman on the mound. And he took a shot, right? Judge was walked all the time in that game 1. He walked, I believe, 3 times. First time he did that was against, the other time he did that was against the Baltimore Orioles. But this Yankees team needs help in the 4-9 because J.D. Davis playing in the lineup to begin with is awful. But to have him bat right after Aaron Judge, someone who hasn't swung a bat in like forever, J.D. Davis. And it's kind of the result you expect. Double play, or a strikeout, ground out. J.D. Davis is awful. Can we just accept that, Brian Cashman? He is awful. There's nothing positive about J.D. Davis. DFA'd by the Oakland Athletics. How the hell is that not a sign to not go after him? Trying to catch lightning in a bottle? What are we doing? This is not Matt Carpenter 2.0. I mean, that's probably what they thought. Oh, he hits lefties well. He hits this well. No, he doesn't. He's not been swinging the bat recently either. I know Boone said that. The thing I don't love about Boone is his press conferences. Because it's kind of just, yeah, we had some good at-bats here. We had some good pitches here that we just missed. This and that. I don't buy it. So if there's something that I don't love about Boone, it's his press conferences. And probably his bullpen decisions, all that sort of stuff. But any manager makes bad bullpen decisions. Let's be real. Another thing, too, about Brian Cashman, in his preseason interviews, I know it was a while ago, but this is kind of like a sign, like, you kind of, like, knew what was going to happen. You said Stanton would go on the IL. He went on the IL. You said Rizzo was going to bounce back. Guy goes on the IL. You said LeMahieu was going to bounce back. We expect a solid season out of LeMahieu. The guy's batting under 200. And he's been a good sample size now. It's not like it's been 5 games. He's been in the lineup a lot now. And he also mentioned that we were a really good team. I could buy that. I could buy that stock for the first half. Right? They were one of the best teams in baseball. Really killing the AL. They had multiple games on the Orioles and Red Sox and Blue Jays and Rays. They were playing their best baseball. But now, all that magic and luck and all that has gone down the drain. It's like, what type of team is this now? Is this the New York Yankees? Or is this an awful baseball team? That shouldn't be... Like, the Yankees are known to be, top dog, all this. Recently, haven't really seen that, but my full blame is on Brian Cashman, right? All this... A lot of the blame, not every bit of the blame, but I think a lot of the blame has to go towards the players and Brian Cashman. But Brian Cashman brings those players in too. So, yeah. Another thing too is that we have to realize, and Brian Cashman should probably realize by now, that some of these players are just not good. Anthony Rizzo is probably not good anymore. DJ LeMahieu is probably not good anymore. Gleyber Torres, probably not good anymore. But, Gleyber's a guy that usually he sometimes stinks in the first half and then starts to play better in the second half. Maybe the 2 home runs he just hit is a spark. But another thing is a lot of Yankee fans, including myself, want Stanton back in this lineup, right? 18 home runs in the year, was one of the best DHs in the league. this season in terms of his production. And now, with Stanton going on the IL, which Cashman predicted, we don't know what type of Stanton we're going to get. We can get Stanton from last season. Strikeout after strikeout after strikeout. Very streaky, all this. And he could be off for the next 3 weeks. So, a lot of questions with Giancarlo Stanton. We don't know what type of Stanton we're going to get. I feel like, and I'm not trying to sound negative, but with how this season has gone, you're probably going to get Stanton. That was the Stanton of last season. With how this season has gone. But, yeah, I mean, I guess if there's a positive that I do have, it's that the bullpen has looked better, I think. Luke Weaver has been unbelievable. Tommy Kahnle's been solid. Tim Hill has been good. 2.87 with the team in 11 appearances. That's solid numbers. Even though he did allow a home run to Lindor yesterday. But it's the same issues. It's the same issues every season. It's the offense. We've said it how many countless times in a row. Offense needs to be better. We need to get hitting this offseason. Pitching, we don't need to really get. Yet, what do? Just go all in for pitching again. I don't see the reason. Matt Blake's a pretty good pitching coach. Brian Cashman knows how to build a bullpen and knows how to do that. Now let's start to, learn how to get good hitters in Yankee Stadium. Do we forget that Yankee Stadium is built for lefties and it's a hitter-friendly ballpark? You see all the time, oh, this was a fly ball, or this home run would have been only hit in Yankee Stadium, or this or that. Unicorn home runs, they call it, when it's only been hit in one ballpark. Now, I'm not saying go out and get a ton of home run hitters. You've done that before. You got Joey Gallo one trade deadline. You got these home run dependent guys. Get some contact. I think the Yankees need to find a player that's like DJ LeMahieu from 2019, a guy that just gets contact and hits. It's hard to find that, but there are guys that strictly don't really hit for power and they hit for contact. But another topic that we have to get into is Aaron Boone's press conference. This happened last night. The game right after the Mets defeated the Yankees 13-3, I believe, something like that. So Aaron Boone was pissed. That was in no denial. This guy was pissed, and he has every right to be. And honestly, I think he's using this frustration towards the front office. And I don't think it's intended to yell at a reporter and curse at him. Because that is what Aaron Boone did. He's finally snapped, Aaron Boone. Aaron Boone has finally snapped, and I think he has a right to because Brian Cashman is not doing him any favors. So he said, we're pissed off in there. We got a lot of expectations. Stretch, slump, recent. I don't give a shit. We have got to play better the rest of the way. That entire sentence is the exact words that Aaron Boone said. And he also said, I don't think in exact words, but we're a really good team who's playing shitty. It's true. I mean, it is right in front of us. We have heard that 3 seasons in a row, but it isn't wrong. I mean, it's annoying that it's repetitive because the Yankees should be in a comfortable spot, but they're not. They've struggled. They've played awful. They have seen regression from a lot of players. We don't know what the future is with them. Is Alex Verdugo going to become a decent player down the stretch? We don't know. We do not know. But it's tough. It is tough. But, I think something that needs to be done is get players. As we get into this next topic, the rumors, all of this, kind of the juicy stuff. So, first off, Chaz Chisholm. Chaz Chisholm, looking at his stats here, pretty decent numbers, alright? He's alright. Kind of gets the overrated tactic, but something that has gone through from sources is that he's not a fit anymore with the New York Yankees. Because of his personality that they fear in the clubhouse, he would bring bad vibes because he's an energetic guy. He brings a lot of that to Miami. So, looks like the Yankees are out of Chaz Chisholm. Am I mad? Probably. Not necessarily. I do think the overrated description to him is correct. Another player that has been linked to the New York Yankees is Jonathan India from the Cincinnati Reds. Something to take into account, too, is that the Reds aren't 100% out of it. Let's look at the NL Central right now. Pull this up. So the Reds are 4 games out of the NL wild card. Pittsburgh's ahead of them, Arizona, San Diego, and then the 3 wild card teams with the Cardinals, Mets, and Braves. So, in my opinion, they probably should shop him because they're probably not going to overtake those teams. But, as of right now, he's not available for trade. Excuse me. So he's 27, he's having a really solid season, 8 home runs, and he's drawing walks in 12.7% of his appearances, only striking out 19.7%. So it's not awful. He's batting .275, and he's got 123 WRC plus, indicating he has been better than 23% of the league average at the plate overall. Also, Nestor Cortez could potentially be traded, as the Yankees are looking for a left fielder or an infielder. Per The Athletic, some more news, more stats. The New York Yankees have just mustered 5 hits in the game and has averaged 4.29 runs in July. That's runs per game. Yanks are 11-22 since June 13th, and infielders have posted a collective WRC plus of 87 this season. That's tied for the 6th lowest in the MLB. So, the infield has been awful, like we said. Gleyber Torres has been bad, DJ LeMahieu, Anthony Volpe, Ben Rice has cooled down. The entire infield has been bad. Also, some things. Chad Green has been linked to the New York Yankees. He's been solid, man. 2.96 ERA. He's got a 27.3 strikeout minus walk rate with the Yankees. That's from 2017 to 22. That's that. He's having a solid season. Green would also boost the Yankees bullpen that ranks 6th in the MLB with a 3.49 ERA and opponent's batting average of 2.20. However, since June 13th, that group has pitched to a 4.17 ERA. Chad Green is also 7 for 7 in save opportunities this season, and was a popular teammate during his time in New York. Some more stats and some more stuff. According to Bob Nightingale, Bronx Bombers have shown a willingness to include Spencer Jones in a trade for White Sox lefty Garrett Crochet or Tigers lefty Tarek Skubal, but the 23-year-old outfielder has a troubling 37.1 strikeout rate in Double-A. Going to that stat and going into that trade piece, I don't think especially if you want Tariq Skubal, they're probably going to want both Dominguez and Spencer Jones. So that would be a blockbuster deal. And also, I mean, Garrett Cole has struggled. You can make the argument that they should have shut him down. Garrett Crochet, I think, is more likely to, if you want to trade for him, if they want Spencer Jones. I wouldn't mind trading Spencer Jones, especially if he has almost a 40% strikeout rate. He could still be a good player, though. So I think that's something that Brian Cashman is looking at. Kind of to wrap this thing up, the last of questions I have is if Cashman makes 3 to 4 moves, is it even going to make the difference? And I'm not sure, because now they aren't in an impossible spot because Baltimore Orioles have struggled, and that's helped the Yankees because with Baltimore Orioles struggling, could definitely help them, win the division, the Yankees. Another thing is this a one and done with Soto? Because if I'm Juan Soto right now, we had a great first half, and now we're struggling. It seems like he really likes it here, though. But with another thing too is with the Yankees getting swept by the Mets, does that kind of change turns of Soto maybe wanting to go to the crosstown rival? Maybe he has said that baseball this stuff happens, but with how the stretch is going and how poorly built this team is, it's relied on Judge. But yeah, that's kind of gonna wrap up this Yankees pod. A lot of struggling stuff, a lot of stats that are not very promising, except for the Yankees being 1.5 games out of a division spot. Yankees are a wild card team as of right now, and to say that the Yankees are a wild card team with Juan Soto and Judge is just sickening. But anyways, guys, don't forget to check out the merch. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to check out our new videos. Don't forget to check out a Giants podcast that we recorded just recently. Giants are back in training camp. Yanks are trying to fix their stuff at the deadline. But I'm going to see you guys in the next one. Enjoy. Peace.